Sanchez and Aguero are back in form, there were goals galore on Saturday, and, as usual, a few defensive mistakes, all coming up next on the weekend recap. What's up guys, and welcome to JNO United, bringing the best in football news, entertainment and games. And today we're looking back at Game Week 10, it's the weekend recap. But if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that thumbs up button and answer the question of the day. Did you ever doubt Sergio Aguero going into Game Week 10? And be honest. Anyway, unfortunately I didn't get to watch many of the Sunday games or the Monday games, so this weekend recap is pretty much focused on the Saturday, the day I did get to watch games for, and what a day of football it was. We'll start off with the Sunderland versus Arsenal game, and Sunderland have looked atrocious so far this season, and Arsenal just took advantage of a side that have looked very, very weak in the Premier League. We'll start off with the first goal, and it was 22 passes that led to the goal scored by Alexis Sanchez. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain whipped in a cross that Sanchez beat Kone to head in at the near post with a diving header. Now if we look at the replay, you can see here as Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is whipping this ball in, Kone has no reason to let Sanchez beat him to this ball. But instead of going towards the ball and making sure he clears it, even if it's off for a corner, he waits for the ball to meet his head, and Alexis Sanchez isn't going to take that time to wait, nips in front of him and scores a beautiful diving header. But that is defending that annoys me, because you see it a lot. The ball gets whipped in and defenders wait for it to hit their head, while attackers of course are attacking it to get on the end of it and put it into the back of the net. If defenders just learn to move towards the ball and make sure, even if they're heading it in a stupid direction off for a corner, that they get there first, this goal would have been avoidable. And the problem is, Kone could not deal with Sanchez all game. In fact, most of the Sunderland defence couldn't deal with Sanchez. He's starting to learn when to run into the box, when to press against the back line and try and get him behind, and also when to drop deeper and let players run past him. He's becoming a complete forward in this Arsenal team, almost to the extent where I don't think they need to bring in a striker if Alexis Sanchez keeps evolving in this role. Sunderland did get back into it, but it was really against the run of play when Mustafi failed to deal with a ball hit towards him, which let Watmore get in behind, Watmore run towards goal, and Cech took him out trying to pick up the ball from his feet. Koscielny was around, which is why Cech stayed on and only got a yellow card, and then Jermaine Defoe stepped up and is one of the few people at the moment that looks certain of scoring penalties. So it's 1-1, and what do? You bring on Olivier Giroud. Okay, not many people would say that, but that's what happened, and with his first two touches, he scored 2 goals. A cross comes in from Gibbs and he volleys it home to make it 2-1, and then the second goal for him was a corner from Özil, whipped in at the near post. He's the one that meets it first because the defence again just let him attack it before they get to the ball, and he scores his second, making it 3-1 and making it a lot more comfortable for Arsenal. And then to make it 4, Gibbs smacked a shot off of the post, Ramsey tries to poke it towards goal, it falls at Sanchez's feet and he calmly just turns and dinks it into the net, making it 4-1 and a comfortable win for Arsenal in the end. The 1-1 scoreline before that flattered Sunderland a lot. See, the problem with Sunderland is they're trying to be defensive and compact, but there's no pressing at all, and when you give players like Arsenal's players time on the ball, they will find ways to score, even if you have a deep defensive line trying to defend that goal. Doesn't matter how organised that defensive line is, if there is no pressing, these quality players have time to pick up passes, and they can do that because they are that good. So Sunderland really need to find the balance, like Burnley kind of have, between pressing and keeping that defensive line. If we move on to the West Brom versus Man City game, Man City came away with the win, winning 4-0, which means a clean sheet for Man City, which is something they haven't been getting a lot of, and Sergio Aguero decided to turn up today. But before we get into that, I just want to bring up Nolito, the two sides of this Spanish winger. Great turn here to beat his man, and then he gets taken out because he just had a bit too much skill and had his body between him and the defender. But when he gets taken out, His reaction first of all is to lie on the floor like he's been shot, and then second of all his reaction is to get up and put his head against Dawson's. Now if Dawson was not as honest a player and had gone down like he had been shot, I think Nolito would have been sent off, as you can see in this clip. But Nolito needs to get this out of his game. You need to sort it out, because you could cost Man City games if you keep doing this. First goal comes when Gundogan plays a 1-2 with Sterling and then manages to poke the ball through to Aguero, who manages to slot it in at the far post. Now I apologise if I'm saying Gundogan wrong or Gundogan. I know I struggle with foreign names, so apologies for that. Aguero then picks up a loose ball at 1-0 just outside the box and rockets home a quality shot. What I think is probably the goal of the week, but there were some other good goals of the weekend as well. But great finish from Aguero, showing what he can do from outside the box as well as inside. Second half, West Brom started to perform, started to get into the game, but they were killed off by a third Manchester City goal. Aguero has the ball outside the box and somehow managed to chip a ball into the middle for Gundogan to slot home an easy finish, as all the West Brom defenders were following Aguero, imagining the ball was going to go out wide to the left. The ball is then played out wide to Kevin De Bruyne, who finds Gundogan again in the box with plenty of space for another easy finish for Gundogan's second goal. He looks to be starting to fit into this side. If he can keep that form up, he looks like a great acquisition for Manchester City. But the main talking point for me, I believe, is Aguero. Aguero today looked like he had bought in to Pep Guardiola's philosophy. He'd run 10.2 kilometres in this game, which is more than I believe I've ever seen him run before. Don't quote me on that. But he also was getting assists as well as scoring goals. Now, before we get on to the last game I want to talk about, I just want to bring your attention to a channel I like to watch. And if you're a West Ham fan or a West Ham follower, or you just like seeing a West Ham fan's opinion when they lose and like to see their despair, go and check Hammer and Talk. He's a great guy that does match previews, does match reviews after the results happen, and talks about West Ham news in general. Really entertaining guy that you can tell gets really worked up about his club. Go check him out, Hammer and Talk. Here is a quick clip of his reaction to Everton versus West Ham.
West Ham do get a chance through Obiang of all people. Payet puts him through and he runs straight through and he misses. He just blows it over the bar, absolutely skyrockets. He has the cheek to try and ask for a deflection, which it wasn't. It was a really horrific pass, really horrific finish. But the pass from Payet was beautiful. But it's like of all the players in that West Ham squad, you want one player to have that opportunity in front of goal, and you know the last person is going to... You probably put Adrian there before you'd put Obiang there. Because we all know, you know, Obiang isn't the greatest like clinical finisher there is. You know, he's got a good shot on him, but he's not a clinical finisher in front of goal. But yeah, you know, a wasted opportunity.
And finally, we get to the Crystal Palace versus Liverpool game. The result was 2-4 to Liverpool. I think people expected Liverpool to win, but Liverpool are the type of side that can slip up in this type of fixture. But they came away with the win, and Coutinho was central to 2 of their goals, and Coutinho just looks pretty damn good at the moment. The first goal came from 2 sources that you wouldn't really associate with Liverpool goals though. Coutinho played a ball out wide to Moreno, who put in the cross, which Emre Can managed to poke towards goal. There was a deflection in there somewhere, but the goal got given to Emre Can. But Coutinho was involved in that play just before the assist. And then, Liverpool blunder alarm please. Doesn't matter how good Liverpool are looking at the moment, their defence still looks like it can concede goals. And Lovren looks like the type of defender that shouldn't be playing in League 2, let alone in the Premiership. This was a ridiculous attempt at a clearance. I'm not sure if he didn't commit to the clearance or not, but he just slices the ball towards his own goal, giving James McArthur an easy header to put away in the back of the net. Liverpool need to get rid of him. He's just too inconsistent, can make a mistake at any point that could potentially, in an important game, lose you the game. Now yes, he came back, he scored a header from a Coutinho cross, but still, I do not like Lovren, and if you are Liverpool and you're aiming to be one of the top 4 clubs in England, you do not need a defender like Lovren. So it's now 2-1 because of Lovren's header, and a cross comes in from Zaha, and McArthur is there again to make it 2-2. Now this is the problem with Liverpool. Their attacking play is amazing, but defensively they should be a lot more solid. I think Klopp will work on this. but right now it is a weakness. Just I don't think any team's going to outscore Liverpool at the moment the way they are playing. At 2-2, Coutinho did have a header at goal that potentially hit Ward's hand on the way towards goal, which I think could have been given as a handball. Liverpool won't mind too much because they still came out winners, but that's just something I wanted to point out. Now Coutinho with another cross straight after this handball or potential handball happened, and Matip is there this time to head away. Mandanda could have probably done better with both headers, but I'm not a professional goalkeeper, so I can't really judge. But it looked like both headers were pretty central to where he was standing, and if he'd reacted a bit quicker or a bit better, he could have maybe kept Crystal Palace in the game. Then there came a period at 3-2 where Crystal Palace had 3 penalty shouts turned down by Andre Mariner. You know what? I'm not going to argue with Andre Mariner here. I do believe that one of them could have been a penalty, but if he's not sure, you don't give penalties. I don't care if the rest of the world can see it. As the referee, if you don't see it, don't just guess and give a penalty. Unless your assistant says, look, I saw it. Blatant penalty. You can't just give penalties out just because the player falls over and shouts for it. And then when Crystal Palace is still kind of in the game, they leave way too much space between 2 of their defenders. Henderson sees it, Firmino sees it, Henderson plays a lovely through ball, and then Firmino chips it beautifully over Mandanda to make it 4-2. So Liverpool's attack still looks great, Liverpool's defence still looks weak. I don't think Crystal Palace will be too disheartened from this because they still put in a good performance. But Liverpool definitely look dangerous this season. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning in as always to the weekend recap. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hopefully I've got this out on Tuesday. That's what I'm going to try and do because I know Wednesday's a bit late and the Champions League has started. So hopefully this is out today, but if not, whenever it's out. Thank you so much guys for all the support on the channel so far. Make sure to answer the question of the day in the comments down below. I've been J&O, you've been awesome, and remember, it's all about the game.
Glorious, no I won't give in, I won't give in.